Hello everyone and welcome. Can you type into the chat please if you can hear me and where you're from? This is all very exciting. So yes, I'm Karen Chaston. You've probably already gathered that seeing you've registered. But just take a couple of secs to, let's find out where everyone is from. And, you know, I'm pretty sure most of you are in Queensland, Australia, but who knows? Oh, hi, Jan from Upper Coomera, Sean from Robina. I'm from Hope Island. Doesn't look like I'm in Hope Island, but believe me, I am. Bussity Lakes, hi, Mel, Gladstone, yay, Robina. Yes, I can hear you, thank you. From Cairns, great to see you here, Paleo. Have I pronounced that right? I hope so. Paola. Sorry about that. Yeah, right. Just sort of while a few more people are coming on board, which is great. It's really good for everyone to be here. I'm really excited about sharing this. This is probably the third time that I've shared this, and I put this together in January, which was great. And when we go through it, you're going to realize how important it actually is for the situation that we're all currently in, which is fantastic. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to get started because I want to really honour your time, and it's a couple minutes after 8 now. So I'm going to ask you, have you ever felt that surely there must be an easier way to motivate your staff? So let's ponder what a motivated staff member actually looks like. Is it someone who comes to work each day, does all of their tasks and then goes home? Or is it someone who comes to work each day and whilst they're doing their tasks, they are constantly asking themselves some questions. Questions like, is there an easier way to do this? Is this process actually necessary? How does it fit into the scheme of things? Is it assisting us to generate more money? Is it assisting us to generate more profits? And while they're constantly asking themselves these questions, they know that when they come up with the answers, the innovative ideas, they know that their manager and their CEO are very open to listening to what these ideas are. When I was a CFO of a publicly listed company and senior manager for more than 25 years, I was constantly asking myself these questions and many more. Though if I'm totally honest with myself, I wasn't really open to the ideas coming from my staff. I was the manager after all. Aren't all the great ideas meant to come from me? Can you relate to that? Do you ever feel like that? I really did myself and my company an injustice because we live in a world of infinite possibilities. So why was I limiting the innovative ideas, the ideas that could have assisted our companies to grow and prosper even more? No wonder I was working 6 days a week and I ended up looking like this. I'm sure that you've seen many women who look like that. If you have a look really closely, you can actually see that I am full of adrenaline and cortisol. I'm carrying more weight than I am now. I don't even have my lipstick on properly, and that's my 2007 passport photo. That's right. I went to have my passport photo taken and I didn't even have my lipstick on properly. Though more importantly, if you look at my eyes, you can actually see how disconnected I was. It really does scream out, Elvis has left the building, except it's saying Karen has left the building. So after a few after a few life-changing events, I chose redundancy after the company that I was working for when I was the CFO of a publicly listed company was merging with another. And they decided to say to me, Karen, you're not going to be CFO in the new company, but you're going to be doing everything you're doing now and more. Oh, and by the way, we're only going to pay you 2/3 of what we're paying you now. I'm so grateful that I said no. And more importantly, along that journey after that, where I became, one moment, I'll just move this along. When I decided to take a journey to becoming my own best friend, to come back to me. And it was on that journey that I actually became a Beyond Loss mentor. And as you can see, it's been quite successful because that's my 2017 passport photo. And as you can see, it's quite different to the 2007. 10 years difference. I look 10 years younger. I'm pretty sure I've gained 20 years. What do you think? No, seriously though. As I said, it became a Beyond Loss mentor. And it was on that journey that I actually discovered the people and profits connection. And I'm going to be sharing with you today one moment, let me just line this up so I can use my clicker. Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 philosophies that when you introduce them into any company, you will ensure that your people, purpose, and profits are thriving. So let's get started. So the first one is Maslow's needs. Type into the chat if you've ever heard of Maslow's needs and you've actually really delved into it, because we're going to very quickly delve into it today. So Maslow displayed his needs in a triangle, and from the bottom up, they are physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. But when we bring them into the workplace, we actually change the words slightly, but more importantly, I feel it's better to display them as a staircase, because then you can clearly see where every single staff member is on the staircase, and then you can devise ways to assist them to clearly move up the staircase. So let's have a look at them. So the words will be physiological, safety, community, esteem, and fulfillment. So physiological, we ask ourselves questions to actually see that we've developed the workplace that we really think we have, and more importantly, where our staff member are on those stages. So physiological, we ask ourselves questions. Have we developed a safe environment where everyone feels physically, emotionally, and mentally safe? Do they have the right tools to ensure that they can do their job? Safety. Does every single person feel respected? Do they feel that they can honestly use their voice and say how they feel on any subject relating to the workplace, to their workload? Community. Have you developed a team environment where everyone feels trusted? They feel that they can trust, and they feel valued and accepted. From an esteem point of view, are they all responsible for their own workload? And have you developed opportunities so that they all can grow in their confidence, their reputation, and their status? And then for fulfillment, can they clearly see that they are part of this company moving forward, that they're part of the vision, and they can actually see their fingerprints on the design of the way to move forward? It's a lot to contemplate, isn't it, when you look at it? So are there any questions around the way that you have actually set this up? Have you looked at your business at this scale? Have you looked at it in your employees? Are you starting to wonder why? Maybe they are feeling disconnected. Maybe why they're not motivated. Because they can see themselves that all that is being fulfilled is their physiological. That's all it's doing. They don't feel safe. They can't feel part of the team environment. They don't even see themselves growing and becoming the person. So how can they possibly be fulfilled in their role? Are there any questions?
Karen, it's Sean here. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, I can.
Look, I've tried to create that in my office. However, with what's going on in the world and Australia today, I feel that I just can't compete with the 24/7 negativity around, this virus shutting down. I can see my staff are starting to be stressed purely because all this stuff out of my control. Like, they have children at home now, they're trying to teach. I let them work from home, but I know, they're not happy because I've got deadlines, as all accountants do.
Yeah.
Yet, what do they put, how do I balance this? Because I have deadlines with BAS, with registering businesses for these packages. At the same time, my staff have children who have schools who are trying to go online. Like, where do I draw the line? Like, what should I do in this situation?
Exactly. And we're in the most unusual situation. None of us have ever been in this situation before. But what I have found, that the way that you feel and think is your responsibility. And my journey from when my son passed in 2011, which I didn't really go into, which started me on this path, even though 15 months later I was when I chose redundancy, I've done a lot of internal work, and it's taking me a long time. And the way we think and the way we feel always comes back to us. And there's a lot of work to do. And as managers, we're the ones that should be leading the pace and showing up for the way that we want our staff to show up. And I totally understand, Sean, it's not easy at the moment, but there are so many things out there that can help motivate our staff so that, are they eating healthily? Are they looking after themselves? Because when they're not looking after themselves on a physical, mental, emotional, even spiritual basis, they will not be able to show up properly. And that's one of the great things that I love and teach and show people, how that they can do that. Because it's us. We've got to look after us, and we don't. Look, you saw what I looked like. I was putting myself last. And all you do is fill yourself up with adrenaline and cortisol, which is, I'm living in my, in the wrong sort of part of my autonomic nervous system. So we're full 24/7 over adrenalized. And that's the thing, is learning the tools to bring you back into your parasympathetic branch of there so that you can relax. And I understand it's not easy, but there are so many things in the world we live in. We can connect to all of these things. And it is our managers' responsibility to make sure that our people are having that downtime so that they can move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's helped. Thank you.
Okay. Happy to chat with you offline about that, Sean. There's a lot of easy ways to do it. Okay. So now we'll move on to our second philosophy that we're going to discuss today, which is the workplace appreciation. Now, the workplace appreciation has actually been developed from Gary Chapman and Paul White. And Gary Chapman wrote the 5 languages of love, and then he expanded it with Paul White and brought it into the workplace. And this is something that I truly wish that I had when I was a manager, because when I did the 5 languages of love for myself, I realized, hey, maybe people aren't talking to me the way I would like to, and I'm probably not talking to people the way that they would like to. So by doing this exercise, and you can very easily do it online, or I've developed something to assist as well, but you can very easily figure out exactly where each and every one of your staff members are. And where and how they would like to be appreciated. Because even though you feel that you're appreciating your staff, if you're not doing it in the manner that they resonate with, it's not working. Okay, so let's have a look at these 5 languages. So the first one is words of affirmation. Then we have quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Now, before you go all PC on me, physical touch is okay. It's not as though it's physical touch, as in love physical touch, but we'll delve into it a little bit further. So don't go, oh no, you can't have that in the workplace. Okay, so let's have a look at them. So words of appreciation. These people love for you to appreciate them. They love for you to comment on their work, to really let them know how great they are, how valued they are, and how much you appreciate the fact that they're doing everything they're doing. Believe me, when you talk to these people in this manner, they will go above and beyond. They also like for you to listen actively. So don't listen to answer, just listen to what they're saying, and then when they're finished, you can then ask questions. And they also love kind words. They just love everything to be all part of the way that, that's all affirming everything they do. Of course, you can comment and help them if they're doing something that's not ideal, but it's in the way that you do it. And you can use kind words even if you're delivering not so positive information towards them. The next one is quality time. Now, these people love the one-to-one quality time with you. They will sit with you all day long if they could, but they just love to know that you are spending time with them. They also like you not to interrupt them. They want them to be appreciated. They want for you to show that what they have to say is just as important as what you have to say. They also don't like distractions. So when you are spending that quality time with them, don't be on your phone. Don't be sort of reading emails while you're talking to them. They really want that one-to-one time with you. The next one is receiving gifts. Now, these people love for you to remember special occasions and even not so special occasions. They love factual information. So it's all about you being, honest with them and delivering it exactly the way it is. And also they love to give and receive. So if they give you a gift, please make sure that you appreciate it. Even if it's not the gift that you would love, when them around, really show that you really care. And the next ones are acts of service. Now, these people love for you to, how can I help you with that project? What sort of assistance do you require with that? Anything that anyone could do something for them, even, would you like me to make you a cup of coffee while you're doing that? I'm not saying you have to do it, but just to be in that thinking. They love acts of kindness, any sort of acts of kindness, and how can I help? That's all they need for you to say. Even if the answer is, no, I'm fine, I've got it, they want you to just ask them, how can I help you to ensure that this project comes out the way that we'd like to? Maybe Sean asking your people, how can I help you to deliver this on time? What needs to happen so that we can ensure that this happens? Because we have these deadlines and we all understand. We're all accountants on this call, even though I'm not a practicing one. I'm still a CPA. I'm not giving that up for anything. It was too hard to get those exams, wasn't it, guys? And of course, physical touch. Now, as I said, these people just like you can positive non-verbal, so be very careful and be aware of your non-verbals. A lot of people are not aware of the message they're delivering without even saying anything. Of course, they love the high fives, the pats on the back, and they like for you to talk when you're together. Don't talk to them from a distance. They like that close contact, okay? Even if you remove the desk from in between of you, walk around from your desk to talk to them, just so that they understand that they're close to you, okay? Not as close as if you were lovers, but they're close to you because that's what they like. They like that close distance. So that is the workplace appreciation. So let me just go back so I can show you all the 5. So I have to ask you a question. Have you actually done and looked at your, I should have put that slide at the end. I'll do that on the next one. So have you actually looked at your staff and figured out what their appreciation language is? Because it's really important to deep dive in so that you understand how they like to be appreciated. Because when people feel appreciated, they always go above and beyond. So you can type into the chat and let us know if you have done anything, or Jan or Sean, who are my panelists here today helping me. Any questions around the 5 languages, the 5 languages of workplace appreciation?
Yes, Karen. Like,
Cool.
I took my staff out on just a Christmas lunch just before Christmas, and had a few drinks. But I had to leave early just purely because it started getting a bit out of control, and I thought I could tell that they weren't enjoying themselves as much with me being there.
Yep.
Just because, obviously they couldn't open up or say things.
Yep, totally
So I
get
left.
it.
Yeah, so I left early, but I would have loved to have hung around and just listened to their stories. Like, what could I do or say so they can open up about the good things and the bad things?
Ask them. Have you ever asked them?
I do, but most of my staff, they're very happy. They're still, at the moment they're in a job. They don't, they're not going to say too many things, but I do on a regular basis. I ask them, how's the work flowing? Communication with the clients, how's that going? But I always thought, just get them out in a setting like a nice restaurant having lunch. That's where they open up. Like, does anyone else have that?
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, so you have the one-to-one times with them. Do they feel that it's a trusted environment, Sean? I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying, do they feel that they have the place to voice their honest opinion?
Well, I guess that's a question I'm going to have to ask them. I thought it was. I always just say, look, open. We're all, well, funnily enough, everyone in my office is a CPA, so they're all grown-ups, and I'd hope they could be very honest with me. Yeah,
but what we feel is an honest environment, they may not. They may feel that things have happened, and it could be just their misinterpretation of situations. That when someone actually voiced their opinion, they were shut down, or they were told all these reasons why it couldn't happen. That it's a fine line of actually figuring out where each person are, because we all have different perspectives. Who we are today is the sum of our past experiences. So we all bring these different values and ideas and perceptions to the workplace. And then when we mix together, it can create an environment where some people will find it as a safe environment and others won't. So it is about, and it always comes back to the questions that we ask, not only ourselves, but always the other people.
Okay, thank you very much.
I know there's a lot of questions, and as managers, it's not easy because we think, yep, everything's running smoothly, they're all getting their work done, and when we get into the 3rd philosophy, we'll even understand even more how we perceive it may not even be that way. I've just noticed here that there's not a question but a comment from Melissa. Thanks, Melissa. I found time was the important factor for my team, just giving of my time and listening, also learning about their families and lives to create a personal connection. That's so true, Melissa, and when we go into the 3rd philosophy, that brings it home even more. So you guys are letting me off easily. There's not much questions or comments, which is good. So that, let me just go here while I move this all forward. Right. Okay, I'll just move this forward so you don't have to get stuck watching me move everything forward. So as I said, please write out any comments, questions. I really do appreciate it, because now's the time while we're all here to, right, move it on. Okay, let's go back to where I was. That's me at the top. Okay, so from workplace appreciation, we move into the part that I love, which is beyond loss. Now, okay, I totally get it. So many people go, I can't bring loss into the workplace. It's not my responsibility to help people to move beyond loss. But when we go through this, you may have a different perspective to what you have at the moment. So let's all have an open mind about this. So as I said, I am a Beyond Loss mentor, speaker and author. And I truly wish that everything that I now teach and share with people had been taught to all of us at school, because there are over 40 different loss events that can affect our lives. Now, when I first heard that, I went, no way, there can't be that many. Seriously? Sure, we all know probably the most common 6, which are death of a loved one, a divorce, a job loss, your health, your wealth, and possibly your pets. Though at the current situation that we're all in at the moment, the lesser known ones are coming to the forefront. Things like loss of freedom, loss of choice, loss of status, changing work conditions, changing social activities, and changing recreational activities. Now, they're huge, and a lot of people are not coping with these because they've always, this is my life and this is what I do. And we've never been taught what to do when loss comes to visit. We've all been taught how to accumulate, get more. But now we've all been forced to actually go, hey, wait a minute, maybe the way we've been living hasn't been the most ideal. So here are the 40 different loss events, 40 plus. So when you delve into them, let me just go full screen on this so it's a lot clearer for you all. Okay, so when you delve into these, some of the things that could be going on in your staff members' lives, right? And you wouldn't even be aware of them. But because we've never been taught how to deal with loss, most of us don't even want to think about it. We don't want to talk about it. And we certainly don't know what to say when loss comes to visit for someone else. So your people may not even be realizing that some of these events are a loss event. They're not feeling really great, but they're not really sure why. And it's because of these things that could be going on in their lives. I've just mentioned the more common one, the lesser known ones that are coming up. But when you delve into them, you can see things like, in-law issues, empty nester sort of things. The older we get, women suffer more from empty nester than men, but it's still something that sort of is to come around. Loss of mobility, your family member becoming sick, changing sleeping patterns, changing eating habits, loss of, safety, as I said, and trust. There's so many things that could be going on in your employees' lives that you're not even aware of. All you know is, yesterday, they were great. They were productive. They were, fun. They were this. All of a sudden, they've gone down. And if I ask them what's going on, they go, nothing's changed. But in your heart that something is going wrong in their lives. So when you're aware that these events could be a loss scenario, a grieving scenario for them, you start to think, oh, wow. So from there, we can, let me just get back to where I was. Let me come back to here. Okay, so from there, we can, as I said, we need to figure out what is going on in our staff members' lives and say, okay, Sally Jo's not as, vibrant as she was before. Maybe is it time to have a conversation with her, and maybe I can actually help her because I'm about to figure out the 5 steps that could assist you to move beyond any kind of loss. And I call them the gift of loss, because there is a gift in every single loss scenario that will come into your life. So before we go into that, though, I think it's really important for us to be reminded and, to learn that there are 3 aspects to every single relationship. There's a physical component, there's an emotional component, and there's a spiritual component. So the physical is the way we hang out together, the things we do and say, the things we don't do and say, the way we touch each other. The emotional is all-encompassing of all of our feelings, the good, the bad, the glad, and the sad. The spiritual is that intangible component to the relationship or place or thing. We know we're connected, but we don't know why. Now, when loss comes to visit, it's the physical component that changes, because we will no longer hang out together the way we used to. We won't do and talk to each other. We won't, even touch each other the way that we used to. The emotional component and the spiritual component live on forever. They don't change. But it's the emotional component that causes us all the grief and the suffering. And what the Gift of Loss program does, it assists you to have a healthy emotional relationship moving forward. And the sooner that you go through the 5-step process so that your emotions can become healthy and not stuck inside of you and shoved down like most of us do, using not so ideal coping mechanisms, as in, food, alcohol, avoidance, all those sort of things that we can do, the sooner that we can come back to creating our better everyday life. So the Gift of Loss process, as I said, is a 5-step process. And you're going to love the first one because we're all in that scenario. And the first one is to stop. It's really, really interesting because we have to stop, because it's in the stopping that we take that conscious, loving breath. You know the one that fills us up way, way down into our belly. And it fills us up with all of the love and the wisdom that is required for us to figure out what this means for us now. What has happened? And what does it mean for us moving forward? It's a really important step. And I just find it so interesting that the whole world is stopped at the moment, because if we're doing it right, we're all asking ourselves some really deep and meaningful questions about every single area of our lives. Are we being that person who we really want to be in all areas of our lives? The second step is to accept. Now, this is where you take responsibility for what has happened, for what didn't happen, because until you take responsibility, you can't move forward. You're still in those avoidance, those non-coping mechanisms where you're just sort of going, oh my God, I don't know what to do, I'm floundering. And the people who are floundering in this situation have not accepted it. They're too busy wanting their old life back. They're not actually going, okay, this is beyond my control. How can I make the most of this? How can I learn and grow from this? How can I become the person that I really want to be? Really important. The third step is to identify. And the identify is the most amazing stage. There's 2 components to identify. And the first one is that in every single relationship, we have hopes, dreams, and aspirations. It's about us figuring out what they were, realizing that they're not going to come to fruition the way they were, but then let's identify ways that they can. And more than likely, it's going to be bigger and better than before. The second component, identify, is for us to figure out the things that we need to apologize for, the things that we need to forgive, and also the things that we need to acknowledge. Even something as simple as us moving home, which is a lesser thing. We're all energy and our home has energy, and it's held so many great things. And it's about honoring your home as you move, so that when you move into a new one, you can then honor that home. But it is about completing that relationship. A lot of people don't, work really well when they move home because they're in a different scenario. And people are like, what's wrong with you? You've gone to a better home. Just get over it. It's about this understanding these processes so that you can take these steps, so that you are always in a better emotional relationship. And then the 4th step is to complete. It's about completing the old relationship so that you can move on to the new one. Something as simple, as your children moving home, moving out of home. They've now become adults. It is about completing that relationship with that child. You are no longer that person who is guiding them daily. You're now moving into a mentor relationship. A lot of people struggle with it. They can't move on because they haven't completed the relationship with their child as a child. It's now and then honouring and moving into the adult relationship. Even though they'll always be your child, they're completely different. And then, of course, the last step is to pivot. And I know that word is overused at the moment, but believe me, I had this model long before the scenario that we're in now. And the pivot stage is the best stage. And I honestly feel that where we all are now, we are all getting ready to pivot. We're moving into a different kind of world. We are going to get rid of a whole lot of things that were not working, and we're going to create a whole lot of new things that will work. I honestly believe that we are creating a better world for the many, not just the few. So it's really important for us to actually know where we are in all of these. Understand that there are 40 different loss events, but more importantly, understand all of these 3 philosophies for every single person that is in your employment, but also for yourself and your family and your loved ones. It is always about asking, are their needs being met? Is there a clear, defined path for them to be able to continually move forward and to grow and to become fulfilled in not only in the workplace, but in all areas of their lives? Are they being appreciated the way they want to be appreciated? Or am I just doing it the way it works for me, the way I like to be appreciated? And remembering that if you're appreciating them the way you like to be appreciated, if they have a different appreciation language, you're not appreciating them, because it's always all about them. And beyond loss, have you actually moved beyond all of the loss events that have happened in your life? Or have you just shoved them down and ignored them? Because until we truly move beyond, we can never be fulfilled, because we're still carrying some angst. We haven't completed that relationship. And the more that we do this stuff for ourselves, the more we can move forward for everyone. Now, I've developed a system that assists people to do this, to easily bring all of this into their workplace so that they can create a better world. Remember, your people at the moment are at home and they may not realize that they're doing this, but I bet you they are. They're starting to say, are my needs being fulfilled? You know, the fact that I used to drive to work, an hour each way. Now I'm just at home and I'm still getting my work done. But you know what? I'm feeling more energized because I'm not battling traffic. I'm not having someone cut me off. I'm not having all of these different things. I'm sure I may have my kids here and stuff like that. But you know what? In the future, the kids will go back to school. Maybe I could work from home a lot more. And maybe I could get more things done if I didn't have to battle that traffic. Are you starting to think that's what they're feeling? They're also feeling, do you know what? I'm not appreciated. I work my butt off and I'm not appreciated. I may be, but from my perspective, I'm not appreciated. Maybe I can go somewhere else where I can be. And then, of course, they're carrying all these things that they don't even realize what they're carrying. There's a lot of questions, I understand. Okay, so this is my contact details. Now I'll go to any questions. Jan, I might get you to read them out if that's okay.
Yes, thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Jan.
We had a comment from Rebecca Bertie.
Yep.
And she says, she's talking about the loss scenarios. She said she couldn't read them all, but one thing that she believes is very important in Australia is the visa status of employees.
Yep.
Because many people are facing visa-related challenges that quite often aren't even known by their managers or their supervisors or their bosses or whatever, that they're experiencing those. So how would you support those type of people when you don't actually know what might be causing them grief
Yeah.
or
It's,
those.
it really is about creating the environment where you can ask the questions. You know, with a visa, it's something as simple of, how are you feeling? You're obviously in a different culture, a different environment. You know, you're missing your family, your loved ones, and having those open and honest conversations with them, asking the questions. You know, every single part of our life comes back to the questions that we ask ourselves and ask other people. And a lot of the time we just assume we know the answers, but it is about asking those people how you can support them more. And, you know, they may even ask them, how can I support you more? They'll come up with the ways that they would like to be supported more. And it could be something as simple of, you know, having time at a certain time of day to phone home, you know, the old Telstra commercial from the 80s, phone home sort of thing. It could be something as simple as that, giving them access to be able to do different things like that. Did that answer the question?
I think so. So I've got another question. So I'll put my video on so maybe people can see me. I was just thinking back to Sean's question, or his example of taking his staff out for, you know, dinner and then not really feeling that he was one of them, kind of stuff. So I'm wondering whether there is like a perception of power distance, or if there is this perception of power distance, how would you actually deal with, you know, cracking through that kind of barrier?
There's always going to be that barrier. I mean, in some ways you want that barrier too, because you are, you know, you're the person that is the boss at the end of the day. But there's always ways that you can connect more with people. And it is about opening the channels for them to have those conversations, asking them, is there a different way that you could do your job? When you're designing a new way of doing things in the office, asking them. You know, I can remember at Dreamworld when Jan and I both worked at Dreamworld many years ago. I can remember that when they went into receivership, the receivers didn't talk much to the senior managers. They talked to all the staff and they said to them, if this was your business, how would you generate more revenue? And through asking the 400 staff, they actually came up with 5 different ways to generate revenue and also to decrease expenses. So I understand that when you have this fine line between your staff and yourself, you are always going to have that little bit of it, but it's through talking to them and making them feel more comfortable that they will then see you more as a comrade than the boss who has all the ideas, not willing to listen to me, not open to talking. And it was through there that you will form a different relationship with them, more of a comrade, but they will still know that you're the boss. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it certainly does. Thanks, Karen. We've got Melissa. It's Melissa Giorgio, so she's actually on the Gold Coast Committee, and she's saying that in the current climate with people working from home, how can we create an effective 3-dimensional communication that facilitates conversation where our team are comfortable to tell their managers how they are feeling?
Okay, well, I can tell you this. It's Microsoft Suites. Have you all connected to that? So I use Slack because I have a PA, right? And she's in Malaysia. And we use Slack to communicate. But there's one, and it's Microsoft Suites or Microsoft something. And this guy said, if you've got more than 2 people in your office, this is how you can do it. And I will, I'll get the exact name and I will send it to you. But there is a Microsoft Office thing that you can do. And the guy who recommended it to me or told me about it, he actually said it is like you're all in the same room because it's not through email. You can communicate, you know, you can do Zoom meetings, but it's just so much better because it's like you are just in 2 different offices in the same building. And I can't remember the exact name of it, but I know it's
Microsoft Teams.
It could be Microsoft Teams,
yeah.
but I've thought there was Suites in it.
Okay.
But it does. You do need an IT guy to set it up, whereas Slack you can set it up yourself. But it is about creating this thing. And this guy who told me about it, he's part of the community that I'm in, and he's with the IT. He said he had it, and a lot of companies had it, but they never really used it. But now they're ramping it up, and they all feel very connected. And that's an IT question. So I'm glad I could answer that. Yes. So is there any more questions?
Karen, would you recommend that as the managers, we start this process first to understand where we're coming from before we even try to?
Yes, totally. You cannot, until you understand yourself, you cannot really delve in and understand other people. So yes, I highly recommend that we all do it on ourselves. And believe me, there's an old saying from Rumi, you know, and I think Rumi was around in the 16th or 17th century. And he said that when the universe was being created, they, God, who source, whatever you want to call that, you know, that intelligent being, said, right, let's put some gems on the earth. And they said, okay, where will we put them? And he said, well, we don't want to make it too easy for people to find them. They said, okay, let's put them in the mountains. And he says, no, they'll easily dig into the mountains. They'll find them too easily. They said, okay, let's put it at the bottom of the sea. And they said, no, they'll go to the bottom of the oceans. That'll be too easy. Let's just put it on their moon. No, they'll easily go there. And then he went, I know where I'll put it. I'll put it inside them. They'll never look there. And so many people don't take the time to look within themselves. And this stopping is all about us doing that. And that's why it's the first step, because it's when we're too busy, we cannot come up with who we want to be. We cannot come up with innovative ideas to move forward. You know, even having a half hour each day, you could do it all at once or you can do it separately, for people to stop and to ask the question and close their eyes, even if it's for 5 minutes, and say, is there an easy way to do this? And then just sit and do nothing and the answer will come to you. So yes, Sean, it is about doing it yourself, because when you do it yourself, you'll be surprised at what comes up. Believe me, I have. I thought I was the best manager ever, and I wasn't. Believe me. I was stifling my staff. I was, you know, oh, I can do it the best way. I'll do it. Why does it take you so long? I can do that in 5 minutes. It takes you half an hour. You know, I was stifling them. And believe me, we don't always have the easiest and best way. We think we do, but we don't, because as I said earlier, there's unlimited possibilities for everything we do. So why are we limiting our companies by us not assisting our employees to have this time to innovate and to grow? So yeah, I hope that answered your question. A very long way.
No, thank you. Just a quick question from Melissa. What's a quick tip to establish trust?
Trust takes time. It's about you consistently being that person so that they can trust you. So making sure that you are being the leader, you're being the example and always doing it. You know, for example, the old saying, you know, do as I say, not as I do. So are you following all the values of your company? You've probably created the values and the way forward, but are you actually living and breathing them each and every day? And that's the first way to establish trust. You expect everyone else to live these values and to represent them. Are you living it? And that's the way that I develop trust, is to go from there. But it takes time. It takes time, but it's through honest, open communication, you'll do it more. And consistently being true to what you say. There's, you know, you do say something and then do the opposite, you're going to lose trust. It slowly chips away until it's gone. So, yeah.
Just another quick question. Are the slides available after the presentation?
I don't know. I guess so. There's no reason why not. I know the recording is going up on to the CPA Queensland. So yes, I guess so. I've got no problems in sharing the slides. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from anyone?
Is there any comments? Is there anything that you feel that I could have explained more, gone into more detail? Because, you know, I'm continually learning and growing, as we all are, and I am very open to feedback because that's how I learn and grow.
Well, I just wanted to say on behalf of the Gold Coast branch, Karen, that thank you very much for this Zoom webinar, because Zoom and Teams, it's been very new to myself and my firm, and it's great that you can, you know, you've presented like a very well presented presentation in such a short time on a completely new platform.
Yeah, thank you. I've been using Zoom for years. I haven't used Zoom webinar before, but it's very similar to Zoom. But yeah, I'm loving it. I love the world we live in. I have to say, like, you know, even the time of this, you know, pandemic, you have to love the timing of it. If this had happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would have all been isolated. But it happened at a time where we could all learn and grow from it. And it's really interesting when you start to delve into different things like that and see that. So yeah, I love it. But I've always loved IT too. Not that I like know how to put it all together, but I like learning new things. And as accountants, that's something that I feel, you know, we all can embrace because there is so many things out there.
I have another question from Vanessa. If you want to start identifying where you're at, how would you go about starting?
Okay, so I have this little document that it's called, What Does Success Mean to You? Right? Most of us do not delve into what success means to us. We take on other people's opinions and we wonder why it's not working for us. But the document, it doesn't just go into what it means to you overall. We delve into every single area of your life. And in my Live, Love by Design model, I have 9 areas of life, which is a lot to remember. So I've broken them down into 4 pillars: all about you, all about your relationships, all about your expertise, and all about your wealth creation. Now, I've purposely said them in that order because most of us, when we're young, we start out the other way around. How much wealth do I want to create? What expertise will get me that wealth? Sure, I'll gather a few relationships along the way, and then I'll worry about me. So we put ourselves last, and we wonder why, even though we look successful on the outside, inside we're dying. That photo you saw of me in 2007, the only reason I use that photo is because I don't have any other photos of me around that time. I used to rip them all up. So what's interesting is you could clearly see that I was ignoring me because our health is our wealth. We only have one body. Sure, we might think we can replace it all, but it's so much easier when we actually constantly maintain as opposed to trying to do a big overhaul. So it always starts with the questions that you ask yourself. And if you want to email me, I am more than happy to send you a link on how to do it. It's in Google Docs and you can do it. Or you can, I'm more than happy also, if you go to my livelovebydesign.com website, you can download my Live Love by Design book. It's a PDF copy. There is over 72 different exercises in that book on how you can actually start to delve into you. There's also a link where you can have a 15-minute conversation with me, and I'm more than happy to talk to anyone about anything and give you a guide on where to go. And of course, you can always work with me. So I hope that's answered your question.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions?
Wow, we did it all in time. There's a lot of information, and I know I went through the 3 philosophies very quickly, but the 2 of them, you can just Google them and delve into them. There's so many easy ways. There's even a form that you can download online to figure out exactly what appreciation language all of your staff members have. Get them to fill it in and create a list of, okay, Mary Jo likes to be, appreciated this way. Right, how can I do it? And then it's so easy to have, to help them to go above and beyond. And that's what we want. We want to motivate our staff because when they're happy, the whole company is happy. And your employees are your greatest asset. It's, yeah. If we actually ever put them on the balance sheet, I think we'd be very surprised at what we would value them at. Okay.
I'd just like to say thank you, Karen. That was an excellent presentation, and I've got a lot from it. I'm looking forward to perhaps going over your slides, and I am interested in that appreciation list.
Okay.
So thanks for your generosity in providing all of this to
us.
Look,
yeah. As I said, 2 of the philosophies are out there. It was just bringing them together. And the 3 of them together just make total sense, because it is about understanding not only ourselves, but our employees as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, thank you, Pierre. Thank you. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, great. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Right. I'm going to end the meeting, which means we're all going to go. Well, thank you, Ross. Right. I appreciate all your comments. Bye, everyone.